Hello and welcome back to the Little Craft House. Today I'm having a date night with my brother, except it's not really date night, it is an afternoon, and my brother is of course my sewing machine. Today we're going to be making some wheat packs. I like to have my wheat packs handy in my craft room. As you know, I do a lot of polymer clay work and it is cold in this room. So I have my wheat pack on my lap, keeping me nice and warm. It also comes in handy for warming up my clay if it's getting a bit cold and stiff. So wheat packs are a great alternative to a hot water bottle. It is much safer because you're not using hot water. It also has a great texture and is fabulous to feel. One other thing that it's great for is using up your scrap fabric. So anyway, let's get started and I'm going to show you how to make one. So just before we start, I will mention that this is a no rules project. So we will not be doing ironing. We will not be using pins. We're not doing measurements either. We're just going for it and seeing how it turns out. These are really easy and it's really hard to make a mistake. So we are just going to get on with making one. Alrighty, so I shall introduce you to my brother. This is my brother's sewing machine. I've had this for probably I'm going to say 12 to 15 years now. I've had this on quite a while. Yes, it is threaded with green thread, and no, I am not going to change the thread because I hate winding bobbins on and rethreading. So we're just going to go with green. Doesn't matter, the wheat packs are just for me and my daughter anyway, so green it is. Now we're going to start by using some calico. Just had this already in the cupboard, so didn't have to go out and buy anything for today's project other than the wheat. But yeah, just going to, there's a section here. If I fold it in half, I reckon it's going to be just about the right size for what I need. So I usually like to make them about 20 centimeters, gosh, not 20 meters, normally 20 centimeters squared or around that sort of sizing. So I think this piece here should nicely be of that size once I cut it in half. As you've noticed, I have not ironed this fabric. I'm also not going to use any pins today. I'm just doing this completely rough, but it is going to work. So yeah, if you're doing this at home for yourself, you might want to pin your pieces and you might want to iron it to make it all nice and neat, but really it doesn't really matter that much. All right, so just going to cut this in half now. And as I sew around the edges, I might actually just come in a little bit just to make it a little bit smaller. Okay, so this is the piece. When I unfold it, it's long like that, and I'm just going to fold it in half. And by doing it this way, we're only going to have 3 edges to sew around. So what we want to do is we are going to sew up one side. So up there, we're going to come across the top, and when we come down the other end, we're going to sew part of the way, leave a gap, and then sew the rest. So a gap about that big, we want to leave on one of the edges. That's where we're going to be able to fill it from. Right, now you are going to see me struggle because I'm going to try and film this. I didn't have the tripod with me at this stage. I should have gone and grabbed the tripod. So I'm just going to do this one-handed, but yes, I'm going to pop it on the machine and stitch it around. So while I'm doing that, I'm going to tell you the most favouriteest thing about my machine, and that is that I don't use a foot pedal. I just have buttons on the machine that I use. I think it did come with a pedal and I have no idea where it is, but when I originally got this machine, I had of course my pet dogs and a toddler at the time, so having the pedal with the cord meant that they were always under the table and I didn't want to risk them pulling on it or pulling the machine down. So I actually do without the pedal, and I'm just so used to it now. I actually don't know how I would go if I had a machine with a pedal. So I really like using the buttons, but that's what the beeping noise is. If you can hear the beeping, it's every time I start and stop, it beeps. All right, so I'll also just mention that I am doing just a straight stitch. If you want to do zigzag stitch, you can definitely do that. But yeah, I'm just using a straight stitch. And I'm at the point here where I've sewn down to where I'm going to leave the gap. I've done a little back stitch just to reinforce it, pulling it down a bit and then putting the needle back in, and then a little back stitch again. And then we're going to continue going around. I'm not going to trim off that thread that's there. It's not going to matter. Now, I've just noticed that I told you guys in that planning stage that I was going to do the side, the top, and put the gap down the other side. It really doesn't matter which side you do it in. I just happen to do it at the top then. We're going to stitch it closed afterwards, and this is the internal anyway. We're going to make a cover for it, so it's not going to matter. So here is our little gap. So it's big enough to be able to put our funnel into to add the weight. And yeah, I don't need to cut off the extra thread. I'm just going to leave that on. Okay, so talking of weight, I have my big bag of weight here, which I've put into a container. I've also got my funnel and a little scoop. So if you have a wider necked funnel, that would actually help, because this one was a little bit small and the wheat kept getting a little bit jammed in. I also highly recommend having a container to have your wheat in, because it catches any spillages so it doesn't go flying all over your kitchen. All right, so I'm just finding that hole again. So there we go. And I'm going to insert the funnel in. So now we can start scooping our weight in. And I don't have an actual measurement for how much weight I put into each of these little wheat pack bags, but I go around 1/2 to 3/4 full. You don't want to fill it up too much, because you don't want it to overheat when you're warming them up in the microwave. So I'm just sort of play it by ear, how much you sort of think needs to be in there. And as you can see, I'm struggling to get the wheat to go in. I also don't recommend doing it one-handedly to try and show the camera, because I really struggled with this and I thought I was actually going to drop it and it was going to go everywhere. So that was my attempt to show you from above the wheat going into the bag. Yeah, there you go. You can see it right back to the other angle. And if you're wondering where to get the wheat from, our supermarket used to sell the wheat in the pet food section, but they no longer do anymore. So I had to go to the pet food shop, and they had the bag there. And I think I paid about $13 for this bag of wheat, which isn't too bad, because I can get a lot of wheat packs out of it. So the wheat packs I'm making at the moment are just going to be for me and my daughter, but I'm going to do some extra ones, because I'm thinking I might do some for family, for gifts, maybe for Christmas time. Thinking ahead of time, getting some stuff pre-prepared and ready. But yeah, it lasts ages. It's not going to go off, just as long as it doesn't have any moisture. I'll just seal it up and put it in the cupboard, and it should be right to keep until I'm ready to use it for next time. Okay, so the bag is about 3/4 full, and now I've just got to go and stitch that opening up so that the wheat won't fall out. Now, I highly recommend that when you come over to your sewing machine, you need to support the base. So make sure there is no weight in the way of where you're going to stitch, because otherwise you're going to break your needle. And I like to hold the weight of the bag just so it's not pulling on my machine and pulling on that sewing needle as well. So yeah, just holding on that and then just going over the top, making sure, of course, to add some back stitches in to make sure that it's nice and secure. And then from this point, if you want to trim off your cotton or trim off bits around the edge, you can do that. I'm just leaving it all rough for now, and I'll just do probably a bit of trimming afterwards. And so now we are up to the fun part of choosing some fabrics. So I've just pulled out one tub. I'm limiting myself to one tub to sort through to find some fabric that I like. And it looks like there's lots of Christmas in this tub here, but lots of interesting things. So I'm going to have a dig around. A little while back, I did a big fabric cull, and so these are just all my favourites that I saved. So there's some really cute ones. Look at those little hedgehogs. I love them so much. But yeah, there's some really nice fabrics in here, including the Christmas. Oh, and some Easter. How cute are those little bunnies? Love those. I was very tempted to use this gingham fabric, or maybe even a stripe, and I absolutely love these ones here, but I'm saving those ones. They're not getting used because they have special sentimental value to me, so they are staying in here. But yeah, the black and white, I was very tempted for those, but in the end I ended up going with that beautiful mushroom fabric, and then my daughter chose the two pinks. I wasn't quite sure if there's going to be enough on this pink one, but we'll see if we can make it work. we might have to back it with another colour, but we'll leave that one to afterwards. We might just use this one to cut out now, so I shall show you how we're going to do that. So this is for making the cover. So I like to do a cover because that way we're able to take it off and wash the cover if we need to, and because obviously you can't wash with the wheat in. So yeah, I just like to do a cover, just keeps it clean, and it also just makes it fun because it's colourful. So once again, I have not ironed my fabric, and I'm not doing measurements either. I'm just going to put the wheat pack onto the fabric, and then we're going to fold it over so that we know the size that we need, and then we're going to give a little bit extra, which is then going to fold over and create a bit of a flap like an envelope or your pillowcase, which is going to securely hold it into position. So I'm just going to grab my scissors and cut that shape out. So yeah, it's just rough, but about that much extra we're going to leave for the flap from the top of the piece. And we are going to do a seam afterwards as well, so it will go slightly smaller than what I'm cutting out. And of course we want to be careful we don't cut our wheat pack. I probably could have pulled it out at this stage because I know the size that I need. Okay, so that's how it's going to fold over like that and hold the pack in nicely. All right, so I'm going to run it over to the machine, and we're going to sew a hem along the top and the bottom. That's just going to stop it from fraying whilst we're using it. And once again, an iron or pins would probably come in handy, but you know I'm not going to use those. So I'm just doing a little rolly hem on the edge, just rolling it under so that that rough edge is tucked under, and then we're going to stitch down to hold it all in position. Okay, so whilst I am just stitching this little seam on the top and the bottom, I thought I'd better just mention about the little bag that we've made for the wheat to go in. Now you would have noticed that I just roughly stitched around the outside. If you're wanting to turn that inside out so that then your seams are on the internal, you could do that before you insert the wheat into it. I didn't do it because personally I think that there is a time and a place for rules when crafting. And when it's a really simple little sewing project like this, I don't think we need to stress about following rules and making everything as neat as we can. Okay, so that's one part done, and then I just need to do the other side as well. Okay, so here is our hem. It doesn't matter that it's in green. We're not going to see it anyway. There's the other side. One side's a bit wobblier than the other side, so we'll tuck that one in. So we're now going to form the pouch. So yeah, you've got to fold there. So we're just going to have that bit hidden for now. So we're going to fold that bit over. That's going to be the little envelope-y flat bit. And then we're going to bring the base right up to the top there so that that little flap is hidden on the underneath. And we're just going to stitch down both of those sides along there. And just before I do that, I will just grab the wheat pack, make sure that it's the right size. So yep, that's going to fit. And let's get stitching again. Okay, so the pouch is done. Now I'll grab my scissors and just trim off those threads. May as well just do it all in one go all together. And if you've cut, or rather if you've sewn your hemline in more than say 1 centimetre, or you've got extra fabric on the edge, you can trim that down now at this point as well. Okay, so this project is almost finished. All I need to do is turn it inside out and put the wheat pack into that cover there, and then it can be used. So to warm these up, I just put them in the microwave for about a minute and then just have a feel of how warm it is. Usually a minute is plenty. But I do always recommend keeping an eye on it while it's in the microwave. You don't want to happen to have a fire or anything like that. So just keep an eye on it. But I have very frequently used wheat packs to keep myself warm, and I've never had any issues like that. That being said, however, if you are going to gift these or sell them at a market stall, I would highly suggest checking out the rules and regulations in your area for selling wheat packs, as well as checking your insurance as well. And if you're gifting them, I would also suggest attaching some cards and with instructions on, so that way people know how to warm them up correctly, and just to take care, because they can get quite hot if you heat them up for longer than, say, that minute. So yeah, a very simple project and very easy to use, much safer than using a hot water bottle because you've not got boiling hot water. And these are super pretty as well. So thank you so much for joining me today for this little project. I hope you enjoyed it. It has been a while since I've had my machine out and doing some crafting. So if you do want to see some more sewing projects, as well as other crafts and other hobbies, then please let me know. Otherwise, I will be back again next week with another tutorial, probably doing some polymer clay earrings because of course that is my favourite. And as usual, if you love crafting and have enjoyed this project, please, I would love for you to give me a follow and to like the project. Even leave me a comment below as well. It all helps me to reach other crafters and bring my tutorials to them. So once again, thank you so much for watching. I will see you again next week with another tutorial. See you then. Bye.